Alright everybody, welcome back. We are at the 2024 kickoff for the Bass Cruisers Cruise Night over here at Bass Pro Shop. Nice turnout tonight. We'll try to get an overview of the whole crowd here. Good weather, it's like 70 degrees, partly sunny. I'll be honest, I thought we'd have a little bit bigger turnout, but it looks like we're going to get probably 700-800 cars, just a great turnout. I just thought this early in the year, with this weather, it'd be a little better, but there's some cool stuff here. I'm going to walk through. We'll shoot 10 or 15 of our favorite cars. We'll show you some of our favorite stuff for the night, and then we'll do a quick wrap-up. So, awesome turnout, great first night for the show, and I do apologize if the audio is not great. My mic is giving me a hard time, so we're doing it no microphone, so we'll come back and hopefully the audio is not too bad, and we'll share some really cool stuff with you that we haven't shared too much so far. This is 2023 Dodge Demon 170. I just got a chance to talk to the owner. He's had it just a couple of months. I think I shipped it by half a year. It's got 300 miles on it. Still got a lot of stuff in the wrapper. 1,025 horsepower, the last of the Demons. This one is an awesome color combination. I love it. But you can see the steering wheel still wrapped up, the radio still wrapped out. Awesome leather seats with the Demon logo. Again, you've seen these big blowers, but I like, the tires on this. I think the wheels look better on this than they did on the original Demon, which we saw in one of the other shows, which still looks great. But again, 1,025 horsepower from the factory, just an absolute monster. And this will be the first one we want to share up here with you tonight. Very, very cool car. And we got to get that Demon logo in the shot here. Selection of Shelbys up here from the Shelby Club, the local Shelby Club. I had a chance to meet a couple of the guys at the World on Wheels show. They had a great turnout today. They have some really pretty stuff up here. We saw this one. I love the color on this with the black and the red. We got some GT350Rs, the GT350, GT500s. Great turnout from the Shelby folks with some really pretty cars. And again, this is kind of cool because these guys are way back into the hobby and they've got some amazing stuff. And again, great performance on these cars, great colors. Again, I think this car, again, we see a lot of the Mopar stuff. To see the Shelby stuff in this much is great. And to see it, these guys turn out with some beautiful, colors, style, the carbon fiber wheels on here. You look at the brakes on there, just stunning cars across the board. So happy to share these ones with you. And this is a great group of folks. Some really cool box bodies here. So I was looking at this one, very similar to mine. I would guess it's an 87 or an 88. I didn't even look at the speedometer. It is an 85 mile an hour speedometer. I don't see a Mustang emblem, so I don't think it's an 89. So I'm guessing an 87 or an 88. All white. Similar to mine, white seats with the red interior. So it's a little bit, it does have a little bit of splash of color versus the gray on mine. The white leather's tough on these. This one is pretty nice. Automatic, so very similar to what we have at home. Good looking car. He still has, the turbine wheels. It's got everything on it. It looks pretty cool. And then there's this other Fox body here. I've shot this one before. This one's done a 5.0 Coyote swap. It's really pretty. We've got another green right next to it. And then we've got a couple of Cobras down here and some, newer generations. But this was kind of a cool section of Mustangs I wanted to share with you down. As you know, I love a cool story with a car. So I'm going to shoot this 78 Formula Firebird. It's a 305. One repaint. The owner's had it since it was 1 year old, has 109,000 miles. This one's really pretty. The blue with the black on the bottom. I love this front end before it changed over to that the four headlight front end, which is a little different. But this one's so cool. I like the air intakes on these, the different hood. It's a lot more subdued than the Trans Am. Just a cool looking car. And you look in the interior, very similar to what you'd find in the Trans Am. What they did on the Firebird formulas, they went with the wood grain instead of the turned aluminum, which I actually think looks kind of cool. I love the turned aluminum in a Trans Am. But the wood grain's cool, and again, it's not in your eyes, it's not reflecting off everything. And what's nice on this too is I really love the back end of these cars. I love the Formula badge on the back, and it does have the Firebird in the back, which looks great. So this is a great looking car from the back too. It's just a very cool car, and something a little different and unique we don't see as often with the Formula Firebirds. I also love the body color matched wheels. I just think they pop on this car, and it looks absolutely great. So I know I'm going to get Shelby happy today, but I was a chance to talk to the owner on this. We had a really good conversation because we had that white Fox body next to us. I think he said owned like 17 Mustangs. He had like 7 Fox bodies. Got the Shelby. I love this car. I think the wheels on this car are absolutely stunning. I love the color combination on it. I think it's a great looking car. So when this one came up, I wanted to take a look. I just thought it looked so cool. And then I do have a couple of cars I want to shoot right here. So we have 2 C4 Corvettes coming in, along with like an 81 Trans Am in the white, which is different. That's a turbo Trans Am. That'll be the 4.9 turbo. So a couple of really good looking cars. Love the wheels on this one, the newer Z06 wheels. Love the green on that one. But this should be a turbo. I see I should have Firebird it. So I wonder if that's the, it's part of the 4.9. I like the wheels on it. So very cool looking. I thought that was the Trans Am, but maybe it is just the Firebird. Okay. So I wonder if that's the naturally aspirated. That might even be the turbos. That might be the naturally aspirated, like 80 or 81, 4.9. So the 305 Firebird. But it looks great. It looks like those are like the turbo wheels too. So I am not 100% sure what that car is, but I like the style and the color on it. It's pretty cool and different. For two reasons. One, the Z28s are always cool. The 302, the high output that was designed for the Trans Am racing. But the second reason is orange is my favorite color, and the orange with the white race stripes looks awesome on this car. Rally wheels, really good looking car. The only option I wish it had, because it looks like it's a 4-speed, I think all the Z28s were 4 speeds. It doesn't have the houndstooth interior. That's the only thing I would wish this has, because this thing is absolutely awesome looking. And I do like the white interior with the orange, with the white racing stripes. It still looks great. But I did dig the houndstooth on these. But other than that, this would have every option I would want. I think it's a great looking car and an awesome color. You all have heard me talk about my love for the Eldorado a ton of times. This is the sister car, the Toronado. Front drive, that platform, I love this car too. I think the Eldorado's a little better looking from these years, but this is an awesome looking car. Had a big V8 front wheel drive. I love the hubcaps on this car. I think the front end looks awesome, kind of retro futuristic, but looked great at the time. Fastback style. The rear end on these might be a little nicer looking than the Eldorado. I think the front end of the Eldorado's a little better, so I like both of these. But this is a cool car, and like I said, you've heard me talk about the Eldorado a few times. The Toronado doesn't get the same love, but this was a game changer for GM, right? You see in the car, no transmission tunnel. So you could sit 6 people in a car like this, which is absolutely incredible. And it was a great driver, better in the snow up in the Northeast. So there's a lot of benefits to this car, and you see a lot of that translation over here over the years into some of these, from front drive, rear drive to front drive, and this is a lot of that's coming in place. We also have a really cool, another Hellcat. There's a lot of awesome Mopars up here. I probably won't shoot a ton of them, but there's a lot of really cool ones up here, so I'll shoot what I can. I like the color combination on that one, though. This is a very cool car. You guys know I love a cool story. Just kind of reading it. So original owner, family car. So the mom had it, got it new. I love these cars anyway. They're that time capsule of the late 70s, 80s. This kind of, this gives me the Fast Times at Ridgemont High vibe. I love like the turbine style wheels. The Z28 was just a great looking car, but to see the story that I took a picture of the sign at the beginning, that this will forever be in this family, I think is so cool. There's a few cars up here that are like generational cars, and to see that is awesome. And this one's a great color combination in the white with the blue. You don't see that color as often. This one looks great. They did restore it. It's a really pretty looking Z28. And again, this is a great looking car in that time. The Trans Am is what everybody wanted, but this car I think is just as good looking as the Trans Am. Way more practical, kind of easy to work with. The Chevy 350 was everywhere. You could do anything to it. And you weren't dealing with the difference on the Pontiac or the Oldsmobile motors. So I think this is a great car. Again, super highly desirable. I love the wheels, love the color, love the style, and I love the story. It was on the highway with me. I love orange. This thing sounded so badass. Or the well-drag stars, excuse me. The big and littles, the street slicks on the back, the 446 pack with the A12 hood. This hood would lift up, and it would have 4 pins where you'd lock the hood at the top so you can work on it. You see the giant intake on it. This thing is awesome. The only thing I don't love with these, I do love the fact that it's a manual. I love the orange and black interior. The only thing I don't love on the car is I don't really like body colored bumpers. I would prefer chrome, but again, for this car, because you can tell it's like a street strip car, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it looks awesome. The Plymouth, the Plymouth tag on the side looks great. The rotor, this is just a really cool looking old school race car, and I absolutely love it, especially in this color. I saw these 2 Foxes coming in. This one with the supercharger sounded awesome. I wanted to get over and take a look at it. Let's see, he's got racing seats. Still using full lug wheels though. Most of the guys that do these setups, and this one's an older one, so I'm guessing an 89 because I see the older steering wheel with no airbag, but I do see the pony emblem on the side. Now that doesn't mean anything. He could have actually thrown that on, but this thing looks awesome. But I am surprised that he's running 4 lugs on this car versus versus a 5 lug setup with the setup he has on with the supercharger. Most folks, when they do that, switch that. Let's look at this wild T-Bucket with 2 motors. This thing is absolutely crazy. I love it. This reminds me of the old Rat Fink models, all the cool stuff you'd have back in the day. This thing is super cool. The giant slicks. This thing is really neat. The color's great on it. This is a very cool car. And again, you see a lot of T-Bucks, but this one's really unique. I love the stretch frame. This thing is really neat. It's convertible with the Hemi billboard stripe on it. This thing is awesome. The blue with the white. It is a beautiful car. great color combination, 4-speed pistol grip. This thing looks awesome. I love the color. And then we have the orange and black Hemi Cuda hardtop with the black billboard stripe. This thing also looks awesome. So I love the plates. We got the Hemi Cuda and the Go Cuda. I think I dig, I actually like orange a lot, but I like the white billboard on the blue. It looks great. This car is awesome. Again, another 4-speed pistol grip. And you've got the shaker hood. This is awesome. You don't see a lot of the Hemi Cudas, especially not two back-to-back, and you get two really very pretty ones right now. It's always kind of fun for me. Is people kind of wonder sometimes about the cars I pick. But like, this is so cool to me because I look at, like, this would have been like the late 80s, early 90s. One of the best Japanese sports cars out there. I know everyone, this would have been the previous generation of RX-7 and Supra. So this 300Z, we had one in the family. Uncle Bobby had one, my Auntie Doris, and they had a black one. It was gorgeous. It had a gray leather interior, and this thing was super futuristic. Like, it had all of the stuff on the steering wheel. This one's pretty basic, but his had like all the features on it. Had the T-tops. It was so cool. And then obviously the C4 Corvette. We've talked a ton about C4s over the years, but these were a game changer in the Corvette area, right? Because you came from the C3s that were really stylistically were beautiful, but they were really an underperformer, especially by the end. Like, they had lost a lot of their performance edge, and the suspensions in these, the braking were world class. So these are pretty neat. But to see these two together is pretty cool. So I know I get like kind of some grief because I pick some weird cars sometimes, but that's just stuff that appeals to me because, again, I come up to these shows and, like I said, no disrespect, but there's so many of the same type of cars. So when I see stuff that's different and unique, or stuff that brings me back to my childhood, I love to share it with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. But that's pretty neat. And like I said, you don't see a lot of the 300Zs anymore, especially the ones that are in pretty good shape like that in the Northeast. That's a kind of a cool car. And then again, like I said, I love the C4. I had to come over and get a look at this Monty SS in the black and gold. This thing is it's a race car. It's got slicks on it. Everything in here looks absolutely ridiculous. The fuel management system, everything looks wild in it. The interior is somewhat original with like the original style seats, although we have harnesses and a roll bar. Obviously we have a lockout shifter. We've got an amazing setup under the hood with a turbo. This thing is pretty badass. This thing is really cool. This is a really cool car. And again, I love this in the Monty. It looks very cool, something different, and something you wouldn't expect. So, these Monty SSs were everywhere and they weren't fast. And it was always wild to me when people build drag cars out of like convertibles or T-top cars just because of the body rigidity. But if you do it right, again, you put the roll bar in, you've got a lot more stability. This thing looks awesome, and I love the Uber tag on the front. This is really neat. Very cool. Kind of like this little Alpha too with this Martini livery. This is pretty neat. And these were kind of cool. The thing was crazy in those cars, you really couldn't adjust anything. They had adjustable pedals. You couldn't really move the seats. So it was a fun little race car in the vein of, like a Miata with much more performance, but you really couldn't do much with it. And then a really nice, obviously, C2 Corvette right behind it. So very cool. I actually hoping to get to these cars earlier. There were like 3 of them together, the Firebirds. And this one was kind of cool because it was the Daytona base car edition in that white. So still had that offset hood scoop like we saw with like that 81. This one sounds great. Obviously it has a little bit of a camera or something, but I love the wheels on it. It looks great. Great color combination with the white and the gray. And again, I was hoping to get this one, but I missed it earlier. This thing was pretty cool. So very nice formula. I want to say this was like an 84 and 85 with that Daytona 500 base kit. So very, very cool cross happens up here. I end up talking to people, especially the first night of the year. I've seen so many people up here. There's a ton of car stuff coming up this year. So a lot of shows. So I think we have a decent amount of cars in the video. If I didn't hit everybody, it's okay. I apologize. We'll continue to shoot stuff as we come up. We did try to find some cool, unique stuff. There was a C3 Corvette that was converted into a wagon I wanted to shoot, but I didn't get back to find it. But I am running out of time. We're heading up to the Endicott Estates tonight. We have our show meeting for the July 4th Endicott show for Bay State A&T Auto Club. We're only like 2 months out. So we're getting close. So we're getting a lot of work that's going into that. We hope to see everybody there. I would also say if you get a chance, go down to La Salette on May 19th. Mike in the Mass Car Club have their show. Our next show here is in 2 weeks on a Thursday, so please come up for that show as well. This is obviously at the Bass Pro Shop for the Mass Cruisers. A lot of cool stuff coming up, and then there'll be a Mustang show in June in Johnston, Rhode Island on June 8th for the Mustang Club of New England. So a ton of stuff coming up. We hope to see you there. If you haven't done it, please hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate all of you.